My name is Mrs. Chele. When I grow up, I want to be an accountant.
When I grow up, I want to be an artist. Doctor.
My name is Tshepo. When I grow up, I want to be an engineer.
My parents influenced me to become an accountant, but I chose it for myself too.
I give a doctor. My talent.
I'm a guidance and counseling teacher in Marang. Regarding career, I believe my students should be left to choose their own careers without an influence from their parents. I believe parents should be there to guide the students, but not to choose for them.
Career choice. It comes as no surprise that a parental occupation influences children's career choices both internally and inadvertently. A lot of people grew up knowing that they will be teachers, nurses, doctors, lawyers, or work in the armed forces as policemen and women or as soldiers because either a parent was one of those or a parent wanted them to be one of them. A child could dream of being a writer, but ends up being a lawyer because that is what was expected of them. This, in the short and long term, leads to conflict. Parents influencing their child's career path is a big conflict in many families. A study by joblist.com records that 48% of people felt influenced by their parents into certain career choices, while 40% said they have felt pressured to follow their parents' advice. And this is in America alone. Imagine what the rest of the world's stats are. But research shows that when someone is in a career they feel no passion for, it can negatively affect their performance and mental health. Doing work somebody does not love can lead to burnout and an unsuccessful turnout in the industry. It is imperative to mention that while parents may have their children's best interests in mind, allowing a path where their young adult children have majority control can lead to better career outcomes and an increase in mental health. So how can all parties involved strike a balance in how this debacle is approached? Tshepo Balozwi is a career guidance counselor who's here to share his insights with us on this topic.
To bring it to perspective, one thing we need to understand is that we are coming from a generation of where actually parents have been involved in career choices and career path. We have what we call the family work structure, right? That is embedded in every one of us growing up, particularly through cultures of how we are supposed to live into the world, get into the working space as well. So one thing we need to understand with parental influence is that it's not something that is starting now. It has been there for generations, but now with the evolving of new ideas, new career paths, and how millennials are, how people are growing so fast, it has come to a point whereby now it's becoming a challenge rather than the positive it had in the earlier years. Because, we had those situations where parents would have an idea of these are the career paths that you can do, and those were actually the things that could bring some type of life into the family. Because at that time, it was not about what are you doing, it was about what are you bringing to the family. It was more family-oriented than personal orientation. So there are both negatives and positives, and we need to get to now understanding that in the time we are in now, we are experiencing a lot of the negative sides of it, because the way they are, getting into that space of influencing is not how they should address it at this current time. So we are having challenges of trying to bridge between them understanding the now and the then. And when you try to do that, there's always a conflict between a parent and a student.
That is a very clear scenario, right? And I'm inclined to believe and know actually that parents do mean well.
Yes.
But there is a very thin line between meaning well and becoming a tyrant and overbearing. So how do you think the balance can be struck, especially by parents, to know that that time has gone where they knew everything and that there are newer ways of doing things?
To answer that one, we need to come to a place of understanding that, number one, when you tell someone that this is what you need to do, you don't come off as a dictator. Imagine if you are a parent and you are like, I think I've seen a few people doing accounting and this is how they managed, or I've seen them doing engineering and this is how they're managing. But try to think about those lines. I hear you want to do media, I hear you want to do graphic designing, but maybe just give it a thought. Let them decide. Try to have that conversation. It should be a conversational thing, not whereby you're like, no, do this and do this. Because when you take it now, like I was saying, where you have done that decision for them, it comes back to you. But now if you leave it to them, they come back to you now as, hey, I was trying to do this. And now you are also in a position to say, okay, no, let's see now what other options did we have. Last time we talked, we mentioned 2, 3, 4, right? So let's try option 4. Because one thing, again, we need to understand about career and career development is that there are going to be certain challenges and changes along the way, where sometimes, right now your personality is built in a certain type of way through, how you are growing up and how you are relating with people. And then when you move into a certain environment, you discover another self, another angle of yourself, which then, takes up another area that you never knew, brings up other interests that you never knew about yourself. Because one thing about knowing yourself is that you are always going to grow. Mentally, physically, emotionally, all these things, they level up to the career choices that we are in. So it's not always 100% that if you choose being a broadcaster, that is your lifelong career.